Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. Today I'm going to do my second album review. Extremely exciting. Um, yeah, excited. I'm excited. Can't you see that I'm excited? I'm going to do an album review on the latest Porter Robinson album, Nurture. Porter Robinson is an electronic musician, producer, and this is his second album after 7 years since he has dropped Worlds. And now he has returned with Nurture, and damn. Squid just released their latest album, and Squid's latest album cover and Nurture's album cover looks really similar. It kind of gets confusing sometimes. But anyways, Porter Robinson is back. Now, before 2021, I have not been all that familiar with Porter Robinson's work. I've listened to a couple of his songs, and I've always been somewhat on the fence with his music. And yeah, EDM and electronic pop music has always been not one of my favorite genres, and while his music sounds catchy at times, I was never really wowed by his music at all. But it's different on this album. I'm actually wowed by this album. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about EDM. I have a history with EDM music. Everyone knows this. Every hardcore fan of my channel knows this, even though I doubt there are any. But if there are any, they all know this, and that is my greatest musical rivalry is the Chainsmokers. I hate them so much, and it's almost funny how much I hate the Chainsmokers music. And they make some of the blandest, most mind-numbing, repetitive, redundant, repelling songs I've heard in the last few years. And yeah, I kind of really hated EDM music after learning about Chainsmokers. But this album, while this album isn't strictly completely EDM music, really impressed me and put me on a different perspective. And essentially, this album is more nuanced, more natural, and more organic. And this album is also, because of all the natural sound effects in the back, like birds chirping and grass and trees shuffling, it's like I'm being transported to a world, to a very bright, sunny, optimistic, hopeful video game, and it's just so blissful and wondrous. And I actually really friggin' enjoy that. So the album opens off with Lifelike, which sounds like an opening scene to like a Miyazaki anime film, like a Studio Ghibli film. And it's just very optimistic and hopeful with its keys and strings. And while I'm not a huge fan of this intro, it leads into the second and third tracks really well. We have Look at the Sky, one of the lead singles for the album, and it's this really euphoric, bright, fun, danceable bop. And again, it's almost like the line between mind-numbing, disgusting Chainsmokers EDM and this is very thin, but at the same time there's a huge difference. And what I can say is that the hooks and the choruses, they're really catchy and they're somewhat repetitive, sure, but that's the hook. It's poppy and it's fun, and it isn't mind-numbingly repetitive or dumbed down, which I really dislike. And in fact, it is amazing. It is absolutely just bliss, pure bliss. And also pure bliss is the next track, Get Your Wish, which is very sunny and cheery. We get these digital bird sounds in the back. We got these really tight drums, a pounding beat, guitars, and this sounds like a video game soundtrack, and a very bright and just sunny video game at that. And also these vocal manipulations that are very alien-ish, which adds a lot of personality into the album. The track Wind Tempos is one of the longest tracks on this album at 6 minutes long, and Yeah, it starts off really slowly with this minimal glitch piano passage, but it kind of builds up to this incredibly gorgeous piano solo with very moving vocals on top. Another highlight on the album for me. And then we have Musician, which is probably my favorite track off of the entire album. It is very straightforward, it is very catchy, it is a very fun bedroom pop song that I really love to dance to and sing along to. And it's like a little bit of shoegaze, a little bit of folktronic, all melting together into one really wholesome, tight song with a nice minimalistic beat that I just really love. Then we have the track Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do, and this track is a cutesy little acoustic song with, again, the nature sound effects. And even though this track isn't one of my favorites, it sounds a little scant, it sounds like it's kind of structureless, but in concept I actually still really appreciate this song, and that this song really proves what this album stylistically is going for. Like, the album is going for a kind of atmosphere that's almost reminiscent of those very bright green grassy Samsung default wallpapers, and I mean it in a really good way. Also, Anthony Fantano put it in the best way possible. This album is like living in Animal Crossing. And it's such an accurate statement, even though I don't play Animal Crossing. I've seen people play it, and it's so damn accurate. The track Mother is a really heartfelt and emotional track with a somewhat shoegazy instrumental. And we have the track Dullscythe, which pretty much lives up to its title. It's pretty dull. It's got these glitchy, stagnant pianos, and these pianos and other electronic components just don't quite mix, and it sort of stays that way for 4 minutes. And then we have the track Sweet Time, which unfortunately is the only track on the entire album that falls back the line, where the line sort of separates between the dumbed down mainstream EDM and something euphoric and beautiful like this. I feel like Sweet Time almost kind of crosses that line, and it's just kind of plain and slow burning, and it's just kind of little, just you know. But everything else is amazing. Mirror is another pretty solid track, even though the chorus and the hooks don't necessarily pop as hard as other hooks and choruses on this album, but the cycling clickety beat is infectious. The track Something Comforting has these constantly banging dance beats throughout the verses and the choruses, which are absolutely blissful. I feel like I'm soaring in the sky. Also, the very nice acoustic intro of the track is really nice. Then the track Blossom is a really beautiful acoustic track with one of my biggest musical weaknesses. Whenever I hear something like this, I immediately love the track, and that is a dreamy, nostalgic chord progression. If the song has that, it's good to go. Then we have the track Unfold, which has these extra vocal layers, which is really nice, even though the track structurally drags on for a little bit. And the album ends off with Trying to Feel Alive, which is a very climactic, happy ending for the album, which is, I mean, what else can I say? It's a happy ending, the credits are rolling, everyone's celebrating, and it's warm, wholesome, and it's something that I really need for 2021, where we live in dystopian, desperate times. So yeah, Porter Robinson with Nurture, a surprisingly awesome album. It's cinematic in that it's almost like we're being transported to another dimension where everything's very green and bright and natural and hopeful and blissful, and it's just such a wholesome and heartfelt experience. My favorite track here is Musician, and my least favorite is Sweet Time. I'm giving Porter Robinson's Nurture an 8 out of 10. So, have you listened to Porter Robinson's Nurture? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. I have a lot of albums to review, so, Kira Kira Bonito, Taylor Swift, Lil Yachty, Sufjan Stevens, Squid, Ice Age, Weezer, Plate,